So I'm just going to do a little bit of tech for those that are joining us. We are happy you are here. If we, this is a small group tonight, so raise your hand. You can wave at me on the screen while Allie's presenting, and we'll interrupt and chat about the issues that you have. But sometimes we'll ask you to raise your hand for real, and you do that by clicking on the reactions tab, and it'll expand a menu so that you can see raise your hand. If you are joining us by phone, welcome. We are happy to have you. We will try to rename you if there's a spot in the program for that. We are asking you to raise your phones by toggling back and forth *9. That will lower and raise your hand and let us know on the tech end that you need some assistance. And then you can mute and unmute yourself using *6 on the phone's keypad. As always, we ask that you be respectful, be present. So show us your video, show us what's going on in your life, ask questions, put it in the chat, unmute yourself, talk to us, because that's what makes this exciting for us as presenters. And then finally, we normally go into breakout rooms to have this conversation. But I was telling Allie tonight that I think we can just put it on gallery view as people are joining, and we can have this conversation together. And so I wanted to tell you a story about me and social media. So Allie cracked a joke at my expense earlier. She said she thought maybe I was born when the earth was still cooling. And maybe it appeared that way. But how many of you actually remember having to have a librarian teach you? I'm going to stop the screen share here. How many of you remember having a librarian teach you how to use a card catalog? By show of hands or by raising hand. Thank you, Ronnie. Yep, a bunch of you are waving your hands. So, yep, Deborah's like, way to both hands, way high. So, I remember that moment. My aunt was a librarian, but the very first social media that I really remember using was like I think I called it like a AIM or something this morning, but it was an instant messenger tool so that you could instant message people. And that was when I was in college. I also remember going to the library and I wanted to look up something on gardening, and the librarian had a book. And in the book, when you opened it up, it went down and it said gardening. And then there were like all these websites you could go to for gardening. Google hadn't been invented yet. So Allie was like, wait, you were born before Google? So anyway, I would be interested in just hearing from us. We're not going to go into a breakout room, but let's just chat a little bit. So Deborah Hollingsworth, what was the first social media platform that you used? And then what's the most recent one you've tried? And we really want to hear the crazy stories. So if you've had a rough experience, man, we are here for it. So Deborah.
So when I was in college, I went to ASU, Appalachian State, and I entered in 1997. They had a very, very early stage primitive precursor email system called Pine. And it looks like the interface looks like what old movies now do when they're like, this is an old computer screen. And so it was like black screen with like green letters, yep, real dot matrix kind of thing. And it wasn't like Deborah or Hollingsworth at something. It was DH28814. Of course I remember. But the funny part about it is if you knew another student's name and you wanted to look them up, you typed in at the blinking cursor finger Julia Buckner. So of course, we never grew out of talking about that.
Okay.
And now I do TikTok, I guess. That's the most recent.
All right. Have to edit that one out of the video.
Yeah, we may have to take that out of the recording there. All right. Pine, I do also remember when email was rolled out at Western Carolina for my undergrad. How about you, Paul or Natalie? What was your first, Paul, we'll go to you. What was your first social media experience, or this is a cool tech thing?
Yeah, I'm kind of anti-social media just because I've had that comment from neighbors that are of the other party, Republican Party, that they get their news from social media. So I've kind of avoided. I did finally sign up for Snapchat because we had a niece have a child and she sends pictures and we send comments back. So I'm a real newbie to social media part of it.
That's great. Yeah, we have, there are all sorts of spectrums. So Snapchat, the only thing I remember about Snapchat is they made fun of Barack Obama getting a Snapchat filter wrong in a video I've seen. And that's why I've never even tried it, because I was like, oh my gosh, if they made fun of Barack, I'm not going to do it. Let's see here. How about Natalie? And then Morris, we'll go to you.
I really got into social media about 11 years ago when Facebook was really going. I was living in Massachusetts and all of my friends were here in Asheville, or in family was in Texas. And it was a great way to keep in touch with everybody. And so I'm one of those old retirees on Facebook all the time.
That's good.
But also Instagram, it's been great to keep up with the grandkids via Instagram. I got really into Twitter and wasted way too much time on Twitter. But could really say a lot more on Twitter than I was willing to say on Facebook. But then after Parkland shooting, boy, I started letting it all out on Facebook, and I heard from all of my gun-toting Texan relatives.
So just a place for you to like vent and share.
Absolutely.
All right. How about, let's see here, Juan. No, we said Morris first, then we'll go to Juan and Vanessa real quick. Morris, first social media and the last social media.
I don't know if you count, I was a little bit late coming on. I don't know if you count email as social media.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I started doing that back in the 80s when on my job. And that's the one that I'm still on the most, and the one I depend on. A lot of the other ones, on Facebook, but I very seldom post anything out there. During my campaign, I had a Facebook page and a website. But to personally go on Facebook and send a lot of messages, I don't do it. The other, I have a Twitter account, and but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Some of these others I know I need to know so I can communicate better with especially the younger crowd, because I'm one of the old guys up here. I'm probably up here.
Yeah, and maybe Allie will turn us all into TikTok stars by the end of the day. That is not the purpose of this training, but I'm excited about learning more about it. How about Juan? What was it looks like you're a little bit younger than some of the rest of us here. Maybe, I can't tell. There's a glare, but what's the first social media and the last one you've tried?
I think it was Facebook, but I don't have a social media footprint at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's probably good for job hiring. Okay. Have you tried any of the other ones? No?
No, not really. I do data analytics, and then I do data analytics, and when I did have Facebook, I was able to extract things about Facebook, and I was like, the amount of stuff that I knew about me just from a week's worth of data, it was just like alarming. So I was like, I feel that I'm providing Facebook a service, I'm not getting paid for it, so I'm just going to delete it.
Nicely done and very succinctly put. Good deal. Yeah. How about you, Vanessa? What free data are you giving away to social media providers? Oh, you're muted. Here you go.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm a president of the Robeson County Arts Council. So I do, and then I'm a diehard Democrat. So I'm always on Facebook with politics or art or art. So I don't have time for the other stuff, because I'm monitoring, Facebook. I am doing these Zoom videos with different groups. So, but when I first started, we were using dot matrix back in the day, and AOL was top shelf in terms of online presence, and we had listservs. We didn't have and there was all green, black and white screens.
Yep. If you know what those green, black, and white screens are, go down to your reactions tab and hit the party icon, because some of us absolutely know what she means by dot matrix. So love to see that in the chat there. All right, let's see here. Katie, I'm going to go to you, Kathy, and Alexa, and then we will then I think we'll let Allie kick it off for us.
Julia.
Yeah.
Cozy. Yeah. Lisa throws you off.
That's all right. I got you covered, Cozy. Cozy is one of our district chairs. What is that? Congressional District 5, 4, 3, pick a number.
The Mighty 12, girl.
Mighty 12. Cozy's one of our district chairs. Thanks for joining us. Cozy, do you remember the dot matrix time period?
Yeah, you know, I turned 70 this year, so there hadn't been too much that hadn't gone past me, you know, so.
Are you also on Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, I've got all those accounts, but I find it a little bit difficult. So I've got the little young folks who love me, and I get them to help me set stuff up. But this year, I'm going to learn to do it myself.
Well, good. Well, good. All right, let's see. 2 or 3 more here. Katie, Kathy.
Oh, Katie Champion. Okay.
Yep.
So what the question was, what I
The
can't
first
remember
social media platform you remember using?
the first one?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it had to have been Facebook, I'm sure.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's the most recent one
I
you
don't know
used?
the dot matrix. I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with
no.
that.
Have you used TikTok or Twitter or any of the rest of them?
Yes, I mean, I'm not on TikTok a lot, but sometimes I just do that for entertainment purposes. I don't do anything on it. I just and I'm not on it very much.
Yeah.
I have a Twitter and an Instagram account. I follow people on Twitter. Occasionally I will comment on it, and very, now and then I'll make comments, but Facebook is where I share the most information, I guess.
Yeah.
I have different groups. I have the Democratic Party of Cleveland County and the Progressive Women of Shelby and the, what else? Social Justice Book Club. So I've got a lot of private groups.
Cool.
That I'm involved in. And then I have my own account, my public account, and I'll share different articles, memes, and voice my opinions. And I used to be a little hesitant to do that. And now I'm wide open. I don't, I'm just, if I want to say something, I say it.
That's right. You only live once, man. They might as know what you think.
I don't screen my feelings anymore. So.
Let's go to Kathy Landis real quick. Kathy?
I used Instant Messenger too, AOL Instant Messenger way back in the day. And I use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I don't do TikTok yet. So
yeah. Cool. Well, we know that we have a wide variety of user experiences here, and there are probably more social media platforms than we could all name. And so I'm going to recognize Allie now to take us through this training. The point is not that we're going to teach you how to use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but we are going to show you that we, as Democrats, our job is to amplify the message of the party. And we have some great tools to help you do that. And Allie is in charge of one of those great tools, which is called the content package. So we're going to start there by taking a deep dive into what NCDP offers you so that you can share it with all of your groups. And then we will, at the end, talk a little bit about the differences between Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and how, like, what are you using it for, and how that should change what you say and the platform that you use. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit about, and I'm sorry, Allie, I'm just basically running through the agenda. So you may want to pick up on the next slide, but and then we're also going to spend a little bit of time talking about the difference between Zoom and Mobilize. And yeah, I will let Allie get started and stop talking. So thank you so much, Allie, for being here with us again. And yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone, I'm Allie. I think the first social media I used was AIM, and I think it was a secret and I wasn't allowed to have one. And my friend had a MySpace and lent me her login so I could look at all of our classmates. but I promised to never mess with her top friends and her music choice. So I kept up my end of the promise there. But yeah, today we're gonna, oh my gosh, I just started scrolling. Today we are going to do an overview of design services that either I offer or the NCDP digital team as a whole offers. We're going to talk about knowing your audience. Who is your target audience and what are you trying to say to them? Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter specifics. I do get very kind of like nitpicky here with, you know, Facebook is 900 by 900 pixels and it's a square, and Twitter is 1024 by 512. And if you don't know what that means, that's okay, because we're going to cover it. Every single link that I click on in this slideshow, we are going to send to you at the very end. They're also all on the last slide, so don't worry about us dropping links in the chat during this. We're going to do it at the end, because when we did it earlier today during the Zoom, people were getting a little confused with where we were at, couldn't pay attention. So we're gonna wait till the end for that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Zoom and Mobilize integrations. There's a way to now link the two together, so when people sign up on Mobilize, they get the Zoom link. They don't have to do both, and it really helps streamline everything. So I usually get kind of rolling on this. If I start speaking too fast, raise your hand or drop something in the chat and I will slow down. All right, NCDP design services, use your resources. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the weekly content package. A lot of you were on my MailChimp training last week and signed up for the content package after that, which is awesome. I usually send it every Wednesday. Occasionally I send it on Thursday when life is a little crazy. Basically, the point of this is for the NCDP to have a way to share content and captions, social media, just ideas and talking points in general to people around the state, so that you all can then post about it and share it with your followers. Or if you are a precinct chair, you can share it with your precinct. There's two statistics that I wanted to share with you guys that I thought were interesting. When referred by a friend, people are 4 times more likely to take action, and 84% of folks trust a friend's recommendation more than any form of marketing. So even though I am making this content package and I could send it to your list on your precinct or in your county, it means so much more if it comes from you all to them, because they do not know me. They're probably not going to open my email. They would open yours and they would be like, oh, Kathy is sending me this email, let me open this and maybe forward it along to other people that are going to share. To sign up to receive the content package, I have a link and we will send that all to you later. And then again, we're asking you to forward your email list, send this to people or even family members who would want to post this or find it interesting. And here I'm gonna actually walk you guys through the content package, show you what my email looks like and how you would then download the graphics that I send.
And the reason we are waiting to the end is because during the first session, we put that in the chat box and all of a sudden Allie's email started going ding, 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 because everybody was signing up right then and there. So that's super great. But
it was awesome. It was a little distracting for everyone though, not gonna lie. But it was, I mean, that's the goal for everyone to sign up. But yes, that was part of it. Okay, can everyone see my part of my inbox?
Yep.
Okay, so this is what the email looks like when I send it. It always has the theme, which the subject of this week's content package was 100 days in office. And then I always end it with content package. And it always comes from Allie Donenworth or A Donenworth at ncdp.org. Usually comes on a Wednesday, sometimes on a Thursday. I always give an overview of what was going on this week. Why is this subject relevant? It also is not usually, the subject is not usually focused on the federal level. It's usually more on the state level and the local level. And if you guys hear my cat sprinting around the room, apparently it's playtime and that's what's going on. So this year, this week, the DNC actually provided us with these graphics. Every single other time since August that I've sent this, it has come from graphics that we have made. But the DNC had stuff that they wanted us to share with our network. So I followed the rules. I did it because if I share stuff with you guys, I would want you guys to then forward it on to people. So when you scroll all the way down, there's always a button that says View Content Package. If you click on that, it opens up a Google Drive. And then in the Google Drive, there is always a PDF and graphics. does everyone know how to download something from Google Drive? If not, I will show you. There's two different ways. You can right click on it and click download. I have two monitors up. Okay, so it did open up on this one. And this is what it looks like. It usually ranges between 2 to 4 pages. It kind of gives a similar overview at the beginning. Another link where you can click here for all graphics. It takes you back to the same link that we were just on, just in case you decide to save this PDF and you don't have the email anymore. It always gives a Facebook post for you to share with something relevant for the week in a tweet that you can retweet from us or Governor Cooper or the DNC, something just really relevant. And it's not, sometimes I like to diversify it. These two don't have anything to do with the 100 days in office, but it was something very relevant and on our hearts this week that we did not make graphics for. So this way, we, everyone can still amplify our message. So yeah, so this is what we included. And then usually each week, Julia, should I do what I did earlier and show last week's instead of this week's?
Yes, let's do that.
This week's, just to for you guys to understand, since we got all of this from the DNC, they gave us sample captions, graphics in English and in Spanish. They were all rectangular though, so only for Twitter, not for Facebook and Instagram, which we will talk about later. But I want to instead show you, I guess what it would usually look like, because I think that's going to be a little more helpful.
And so while she's pulling this up, just can you go back to the weekly content package or 2020 digital? So you've been doing this since when have you started doing this?
Last August. I started in 2020. We did 11 weeks leading up to election day. And we tried to do it sequentially. So how to register to vote with graphics telling people how to register to vote, protect our slate, the whole slate, how to vote by mail, how to use Ballot Ready as a tool, how to track your ballot, early voting, vote by mail, and then reminders. Now we're not doing it necessarily in a sequential order. We're doing it with what's relevant where we are, since it's not like an election year where we're well, this week we're focusing on this week we're focusing on vote by mail. We're really trying to stay relevant for you guys. So Black History Month, we had a different one each week. 1 week was focusing on Secretary Reagan. And we teamed up with the African American Caucus for that. We had one on impeachment and day of service, Governor Cooper's COVID relief budget. But last week's was good. It was about, they're usually North Carolina facing, like I said, but last week's was also about the American Jobs Plan, but how it affects North Carolinians specifically. So we took something from the federal level and showed how it applies to North Carolinians and why it's really important that we amplify this message. So earlier I right-clicked and clicked download to download this PDF, because this is where you're going to get all of your information. You're going to see the graphics with the captions. But instead, I'm going to double click on it for you guys. This is another way to download it. Up here with the little 3 dots, you can click on more actions and download. And this is what I would recommend doing for everyone. I gave an overview last week because Vice President Kamala Harris came and was talking about the American Jobs Plan. And we talked about 7 different topics that were very North Carolina facing. The first one was broadband, childcare, clean energy jobs, housing, resilient infrastructure, roads and bridges, and veterans health. So I'm going to scroll back up. You can see that each one, I have a Facebook and an Instagram post, which is the square underneath. And then I have a Twitter post, which is rectangular underneath. I also have a caption for the graphics. I'll get into this later as well, but with Twitter, you only have 280 characters to post. So if I ever have a really long caption that wouldn't post on Twitter, I would give you 2 captions, one for Facebook and one for Twitter.
Now, hey, Allie, what's the best way for me to post these? Is it to take out my phone and take a picture of that PDF and put it up?
Way. That's absolutely the worst way. Thank you, Julia. The best way is for you to right click when you're in this folder, and anyone who receives my email has access to download these files. So don't try to screen grab or anything. If you want, you can do the 2 different ways I talked about how to download. Either right click from in the folder and download that will save to your computer directly, or open it up if you're like, oh, what does it look like? Let me want to see. Then you can download this way. So there's two different ways. Is everyone following? Give me a little hand raise if you're confused.
So just on that, just in terms of downloading, so we're laughing about this because we've seen a lot of people get this content package email, and then they've like taken a screenshot with their phone to upload it to Facebook or something. So yeah,
that makes it very pixelated if you do that. Yeah.
So right click on it. You can double click to open it and then download it to your computer that way, or you can right click and it'll bring up some options and you can download. But that's how you should upload all of these. Please don't try to take snapshots from your phone or from the PDF. The PDF actually has the links to all the things that you need.
And then Vanessa, I saw your question in the chat. These are all going to be PNGs. So the PDF is only the big document that has the captions. Every other file that I send you is going to be a PNG, just to make it easier to upload to web and stuff. And what I would also recommend is if you're going to be posting this to social, save it on your phone. Like you can do all of this on your phone. That way you already have it, and then you can just post on your device. Otherwise, save it to your computer and email it to yourself and open it up on your phone.
And that works if you have a smartphone. So just remember that not everybody has the smartphones and can do what Allie just says. But if you already access your social accounts on your phone, then open your email on your phone and just do it that way.
Totally. All right. So that is the overview. And again, you can see if I scroll down, everything has a pair because one is for Facebook and one is for Twitter. If you open it up, you can see the name up here. If there's ever an FB-IG at the end, that means Facebook, Instagram. So this is the correct sizing for Facebook and Instagram. This one is going to have a TW. That is for Twitter. I'm also going to try to make a point to spell these things out in the future for people. But hopefully that this training, you guys can know, okay, well, that was a square. That's for Facebook and Instagram. The rectangles for Twitter, always. Except for this week's content package because the DNC only gave us rectangles, but that's fine. You could post it that way if you had to. Yeah, so that is the content package. I currently send it to almost 700 people. I would encourage everyone on here to sign up. You can see how many graphics I gave you guys for 1 week just with this one. It's a lot. Everyone should always have enough content to share to their Democratic followers, their unaffiliated, whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And just as a note, like not only can you download and share it yourself as a first person sharer, but the other thing you can do is go to the NCDP page where they have Facebooked or tweeted it, and then you can reshare.
Yeah. If you don't follow us already, I would recommend it just because one thing I've been saying in all of our trainings is sometimes an event is going to happen and your voice is not the right voice to speak on it. And that's also kind of up to you. You can tell, like with the shootings that happened, the murder in Elizabeth City, maybe you don't feel like your voice is the right one to come up with a statement. So you can always share the NCDPs. You could share the African American caucuses. There's other ways for you to amplify other voices around the state. So I always encourage, if you're not really sure what to say, but that you want to show support, at least take that step and have those tough conversations. But in the meantime, share the statements that other people have said. Julia, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's perfect. Yeah, we particularly as white women, I'll just say that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we are not always the voices for the rest of the world. So please make sure that you are sharing appropriately from the voices that are most affected by the issues that you're talking about.
Yeah, and know that the statements that the NCDP comes up with have been drafted by the comms team. We've talked to the minority affairs members and definitely made sure it is appropriate and something that we would be okay with all of our auxiliaries or counties to also share. So anything we post is also meant for you guys if you ever need that content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allie, can you look at Pam's question there? I mean, so she's asking, is it better to share from these posts, like the difference between like one person sharing organically just one thing and then like all of us trying to share from your social. Can you talk about how it helps to amplify the message and looks better?
Yeah. I would say from my point of view, if you share our graphics, we get really good results from that. So that's great. But if you do download it, I just recommend tagging us so that we can see your share, and then maybe we can, amplify that to other people. So if you want to save something, that's totally fine. Half the time, the things that I send you in the content package are things that the NCDP has already posted, and I'm sending it to you for you to post on your page and not share ours. That way it looks like you guys have content.
Right.
But always feel free to give us a tag, because I also think if people know sometimes it's affiliated at the state level, they're like, oh, let me go check out the state level too and see what they have going on.
What I was wondering is I'm the third vice chair, and we're putting together a team to work in communications, and I'm sharing these things to our party's pages, Twitter, Facebook, and eventually we'll do Instagram. Should I instruct the other folks to share it from our party page, or should they be sharing it originally organically themselves instead of sharing it from our party's pages?
If just sharing is easier for you, do what you have the bandwidth for. Just click the share button, and you can always add your own little caption also if you want. I would just do that. Make this easy for yourself, because that still gets the point across and shows that we're sharing a unified message. The things that I'm sending to you guys in the content package, though, I recommend saving and posting that way, even if we've already posted it on our page.
Okay.
But there's not really a right or a wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way you answered it. It's really what you have the bandwidth for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no right or wrong
If
way.
it's easier to click the share button and not add your own caption to it, just do that, because that is going to help us reach thousands of more people. And that's really the goal of this. And it really does make a difference when our messaging gets out to more people. Sometimes it probably, it feels like you're checking off a box like, oh, well, good. I shared something today, or we got our 2 to 3 Facebook posts for the week, but it really makes a huge difference when we like break down the numbers and stuff. So if you're minimally sharing it, that's fantastic.
We had a good question come in, and this is more about maybe like in the specifics when we get to Facebook and Instagram. So I'm going to tell you this, but it may come up later. You talk about what you mean when you say tagging people. Is it an @ them, or is it a pound them? I mean, what's the symbol to tag somebody?
So
yeah,
we will get a notification. So when I send the content package, I love getting a notification. Transylvania County has tagged NC Dems in their latest post, and that means doing the @ sign. That gives me a notification, or not me, but I have access to our like Instagram account, for example, and I can see that, and then I can post that to our Instagram story. If it's not tagged, if you have not tagged us, unless I go to your page, I don't know what's happened. And even if I go to your page and I see it, if we're not tagged, we can't share that to our social media. And then with Twitter, I still definitely recommend tagging us, but using relevant hashtags, which I'll cover a little bit when we get to the Twitter part, is great, because, if you use the hashtag Build Back Better and then click on that hashtag, you can see all of the other posts from thousands and thousands of people that have used that hashtag, and see what other people are saying as well. So I would say if you had to choose one or the other, @ us, but if you want to do hashtags, do like NC poll, like for NC political is like one.
Yeah.
You don't really want to like make up hashtags unless it's like really funny. Like if it was like a really funny one, that would be good, but you guys don't need to worry about that. Just do like hashtags that are being used that we're telling you, because that means they're relevant, other people are using them, and then you're using the social media platform correctly. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, cool. All right, so the last design services part of this that I'm gonna kind of fly through a little bit, just because we are spent a lot of time on the content package, which is great. But the NCDP design team, there's 3 of us. We offer 2 to 3 graphics per month to auxiliaries, counties, precincts, like whatever organization you are. And if you need help, you can click on this link. Let me just take you guys to it. And again, we're going to drop all of this in the chat later. You can ask for a graphic. So you'll give all of this information. Please give me as much information as you can. I did receive a design request today after the earlier meeting. And
what did you love about that request, Allie?
I definitely just needed a lot more info. I'm not going to share all of it, but if you can at least like give me like the actual words you want on the graphic, or like who are we targeting, which is something I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Like, your audience is very vast. You know, there's going to be young people, there's going to be people of all different demographics. And you obviously cannot target every single person in every post. But what is the goal of this post? Is this to get volunteers? Is this to have people join an event? Like, any kind of information like that you can give me is like so helpful. You can tell me what platform it's for.
So in other words, Allie will help you with your graphics. If you need a logo for your caucus for the Young Democrats of Harnett County, or if you need a logo for an event that the College Dems are doing, or if the Mecklenburg County Democrats need a new logo, she'll help you with all of that. But please do not send her a request that says, can you just do me a picture of a donkey, without any other content.
Yeah.
So,
or that's just, the more information you give me, the better. And I swear I'm not like laughing at everyone's submissions. Like, I'm like, I just need some more info sometimes, because there's a lot of requests and I want to get through these quickly for you. And the longer it takes me to get info from you, the longer it's going to take you to get the designs that you would like. So this is all going to be sent to you guys later. I'm also going to send this link, but if you click on digital, then down here, request a graphic for online engagement or printed materials. There you see like graphics for social, we ask for a 3 to 4 day turnaround. Graphics for digital ads, 4 to 5 days. Printed materials, 7 days. So just the more time you can give us in advance, the better. Obviously, one of the things that we're all dealing with is rapid response. Sometimes something happens that we cannot plan. Most of the things that we're having to talk about on social, we could not plan. So if there's ever an emergency, like, please still ask us. And if we don't have the bandwidth, we'll very politely say no, but for the most part, we can make it work. But we ask for these 3 to 4 day turnarounds so that if other people are having emergencies, we can do those that day and then have a couple days to do yours. So always just let us know. It's best to reach out this way, but if you ever have a very specific question, you can always just email me as well. And if we have time, I'll just send you this link to do that. Cool. So these are just some examples of work that we've provided. The bottom left, all right, is Square Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, everyone?
2,000 bonus points to whoever answers this question first. Cozy, is Facebook square or a rectangle?
Instagram and
right.
maybe Facebook.
Good answer. That's good. And then Twitter is rectangular.
Right.
So these two on the bottom, one was for the AAPI caucus. One was, I think this one that says Indian American GOTV rally was actually AAPI and Senator Chowdhury. And then we have the Women's History Month up here. That was for the Small Business Caucus. I Support Paid Family Leave was for the House Democrats Caucus for a bill they did. And then the Transgender Day of Visibility was for Transgender Day of Visibility that we shared with the LGBTQ caucus plus caucus to, just give them some extra content. We also shared the bottom right one in our content package for other people to post. So sometimes just because it goes to a caucus, we're like, well, that was really good content that we know other people are going to want to amplify. So we will share a lot of those things with you guys also. All right. Is everyone good there so far?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is knowing your audience. Who are they? This topic really does depend on organization. It's going to be different for everyone, but so everyone has a demographic. The thing that you need to focus on is, with this post that I am making, who is your target demographic right now? That is what you're going to focus on. You can never target every single person for this unless it's like all Democrats, but chances are you have like one random Republican or unaffiliated, and they still are going to be outside of your demographic, which is fine. But knowing your target demographic helps you decide, what are you going to say in your caption? Are you trying to target, really young people? Are you trying to target women? Who is your demographic here? One helpful thing is knowing, why are they following you? What information are they seeking? Are they looking for education? Are they looking for GOTV or get out the vote information? Are they on Twitter, and are you kind of one of their news sources? I watch a lot of the news, but I follow a lot of reporters and stuff on Twitter looking for news. And when they have a website attached in one of their tweets, I go read the news article. So think about, why are these people following you? Because on average, you only have 2.7 seconds to grab someone's attention before they continue to scroll. And I would argue that it's less than that now. Every year it decreases a little bit more. And I would argue that we're probably down to 2 seconds, because when I'm scrolling, I keep going if it's not automatically getting me, which kind of breaks my heart that I do that to other people, because I don't want anyone to do that to me. But that's kind of where we're at. One way to help stop people and get their attention is by having a GIF or a motion graphic, some kind of video for grabbing attention. Once people see movement, they stop for an additional second or two, and then they're much more likely to read your caption and engage with your post. And again, the point is not a bunch of likes. The point is getting information out to people that makes a difference and elects Democrats. I think one thing that we all need to remember to circle back to is the point of all of our organizations are to elect Democrats. And whatever it takes to do that is what we need to keep doing. So our messaging needs to be on point and attention getting. All right, so does anyone have questions about audiences? And it definitely is fluid. It's not, a perfect science. If anyone on here is using Facebook ads and has questions about segmenting, I'm very happy to have a conversation with you offline about that. I don't think I need to bring it necessarily into this Zoom, but if on Facebook, there's a way to target it down to people who are semi-likely to donate, or even kind of likely to donate. Like there's so many different ways to do that. And if that's something you have questions on, I'm very happy to tell. Yes, Natalie. You are muted.
Sorry, there you go. Do you have preferences about where you don't want your graphics used? For instance, if there is, if I become aware through Facebook of a friend's Republican page of stuff, is it okay to zap one of your things in there, or do you prefer not to be aggressive in that kind of way?
Sure. If you're gonna win the Facebook fight of the day and change hearts and minds on Facebook.
Also,
I
always tell me
try.
if you do that, because half the time I'm too afraid to even enter in those discussions. No, I think be mindful that, sometimes what I would say is be mindful that the NC Democrats logo is on a lot of the things that I'm giving you guys.
Right.
And that we want to be a place that is inclusive. We want to share facts. We want to be polite. I mean, a little bit of sass is like great. I love a little bit of sass, but just make sure it's like appropriate. I'm fine with you sharing my graphics, our graphics anywhere, okay, as long as it's tasteful and is getting a point across.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you ever have a question, feel free to send it to me, but I defer to you to decide.
Okay, thanks. I just wasn't sure if it needed to be, just right on our own Facebook page or how.
My mom lives in Arkansas and posts my stuff to her Facebook all the time because she's just a cutie. Yeah, no, share it anywhere for everyone. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so now we're gonna get into the specifics that I was talking about earlier. This stuff is nitty gritty. I'm going to send you guys an amazing article or website page later that has every single, like here, you see a Facebook profile photo is 180 by 180 pixels. You don't need to write this down. I'm giving all of this to you guys later. We're going to explain a little bit what this means. it should all make sense. And if it doesn't immediately, it will. So just stay with me here. For profile photos for Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, it should be your logo. It should not be your party chair's face. It shouldn't be, I mean, I guess it could be like a government building, but it should really be your logo. You're going to be branding this for other people so that if they see this page, they're like, oh, I know what this is. I immediately know. If you need a logo, you can click on this link. It's going to take you here where you can submit a request. This is listed on every single slide, so I'm not going to click it for each one. And then one other thing to think about is on, I think for all three platforms that we're going to talk about today, the logo is it's a round circular shape. So if you have a square logo in it, you want to make sure the corners are not cut off. That's a big thing. If you need help resizing, everyone let me know. A Facebook graphic is square. We talked about this earlier. It's the same size as Instagram. I think Facebook owns Instagram, so that probably makes sense that the two are connected. And then a Facebook cover photo, for instance, if you, does everyone know what a cover photo is? Like if you have an event and that big photo in the background, that's 1920 by 1080 pixels. And that's the same as Mobilize, which is helpful because a lot of times if you make a Mobilize event, your Facebook event is going to have the same graphic. So that's an easy way to think about it. We'll talk a little bit more about this too. I promise it'll all make sense. Okay. Do you guys that have Facebook accounts for political organizations, are you using Facebook groups or Facebook pages? Do you guys know?
Anybody? Jean? Cozy? Somebody says both.
We have both. It's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We have both. My third vice is a tech guy for Wales. So he pretty much can maneuver anything we need. So I'm going to actually get him to contact you so we can get all the updates.
Yeah.
On some of the stuff that he does well, but a lot of this now we can refine.
Yeah. So I would recommend we at the NCDP, our Facebook page is a page. It is not a group. Facebook pages are best. I think I have this written here. If you want to establish a brand and promote your business to a large number of people. And I want you guys to think of a Facebook group as a fan page or a community page for members who all want to post things on there, which are still very relevant and great. I would love for your county to have both, but you only need to be running the Facebook page. A Facebook group means like other people can post on it, and it's not as easy to make sure the information is streamlined to what you are trying to promote. I'm sure there's settings with groups where, not everyone can post, but I would recommend if you have not already made a page, make a Facebook page. You're not a friend, you're not a group, you're a page. If you have questions about that, feel free to email me. Happy to look into this with you. Another thing, how to write good copy. You want everything to be concise and informative. Think about your goal. Does everyone know what a call to action is? A call to action is like the phrase or whatever you would put at the end of your caption that says like, register now, or get out the vote, donate now. It's asking people to act on your graphic. That is how you get engagements and make something extremely effective. And I put two examples over here on the right-hand side. They're a little bit small probably for you guys, but the one with Kamala Harris, we ended it with read more. That was our call to action, but it has a really informative news article from when she visited this week. So sometimes, a call to action is just educating people. Education is important. And then the bottom one was about an event that we had for a Medicaid expansion panel. And you can see at the bottom, we had our Mobilize link so that people could register. So I just always try to add something with a little blurb of here's your next step. Tell them what their next step is, or they might be scrolling and not have enough time to think of what their next step is. And then Facebook, I would say it really depends on for posting. What's the bandwidth that you have? But you should be able to post minimum twice a week, especially with just the graphics that I give you from the content package. And then you can kind of like buffer in by sharing NCDP posts if you need to. you don't want to post like a million times a day. You can post a couple times, especially if it's like a very busy week. I mean, we probably posted 3 or 4 times today with the 100 days for the Biden administration, but we try to be mindful of the other days, not to over inundate people, because quality is more important than quantity always, but getting out as much information as you can is also important. So finding a happy medium is important. So that's what we're going to cover with Facebook. Instagram, it's very similar. The profile photo size is a little bit different. You don't want to have the corners cut off. Instagram graphics are the same size. Neither of the two do have character limits, but it's that you'd have to write a novel to run out of room. There's also Instagram stories. Is everyone familiar with Instagram stories? I'm going to go to our NCDP Insta. I'm going to also move this in case someone posted a crazy graphic that we don't want to show. Gotta be careful. Julia, do you have anything to add while I do this?
No, it's great. I think the point of all of this is we want to share with you that we have content that you can share. And then when you need to make your own content, we are also happy to help you do that. So here's our Instagram page for the Democrats. And I think you're gonna show us stories, right? Yeah.
Yep. So you guys can see that these are square graphics. We almost always post a square graphic. Here we did not, because it was a video that was formatted differently. It's not a perfect science, what you're doing. There's going to be times where it's not perfect, and that's okay. Getting the content out is more important. But up here, you can see this is our logo. So when I say the size is 110 by 110 pixels minimum, this is what I'm talking about, our profile photo. If you click on it, you can see caption or Instagram stories. So this one we reshared from the POTUS account. This next one we posted. So we made this graphic and we posted it. This is when it's 1920 by 1080 pixels, like I say, 1080 by 1920 pixels, like I say here. The last thing I'm going to talk about for Instagram sizing wise is Instagram highlights. This is a new thing. We're actually working on some for the LGBTQ caucus, and then we're going to be doing it for our own. But these little circles, Texas is one of the only ones I found that's doing it yet. And I think they have too many. Probably shouldn't have said that, but I think they have too many. There are all these little circles. So when you post something to your Instagram story, you can have like little bookmarks and save it afterwards. That way you can always find them. The point of this is when you post an Instagram story, it is only viewable for 24 hours. So all of these graphics that they've posted, you can look at these forever. This is their timeline. They're not going to go away like unless they delete them. But anything in their story, they post a lot of stories. Let's see. Like all of these things that I'm clicking through are not going to be viewable 24 hours from now. Kind of like Snapchat in that sense. So what they can do is when they're done posting them, save them. So let's look at their Get Out the Vote 2018.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Can you go back to the yes? Okay.
Which one?
Go back to the last one you just.
She wants you to go back to the stories. Yeah. So click on Texas. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Then going over the next one.
Uh-huh.
Next one. Okay. How do we? You see the animation.
Yeah.
Now, is that different than what we're doing already, or?
Yes. So this is not something I can show you on a desktop, but if you had if you had it open in your story, there's a little button on the top right corner that has stickers, and you can drag them. I would be happy to have a phone call with you and kind of show you how to do that on my phone if I could figure it out, but it's something built into the app. You can also put music in the background. You can,
oh, wow.
If you have a paid account, you can like what we did with here. If you see at the bottom where it says see more.
Yes.
If you clicked that, it would actually take you to the NCDP website, the store website. So you can link websites if you're a paid account. So there are limitations, but it's a very easy thing to add these things. I could show you that offline if you'd like.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I talk about, Instagram highlights, those have to be 2000 by 2000 pixels. That's a much larger size. But those are the circles that appear on your page. You can delete them as you want, add as you want. If you're new to Instagram, don't worry about that yet. Just get your profile set up, get followers. The stories and highlights, those are for people that they kind of know what they're doing, and maybe they just didn't know the sizes that it needed to be yet. So again, if this is overwhelming, please message me. We can kind of talk through this. For copy, it's basically the same as Facebook. You want to have concise and informative info. Emojis are good to use. You don't want to use 1,000 of them. Just use a couple. One is fine. None is fine if you don't want to use one that day. Again, social media is not a perfect science. It's what it works for you and what works for your audience. And then, is there a link that you want to include? So Facebook and Twitter, you can have a link in your caption that people can click on. Instagram, you cannot. You can have a link, but you cannot click on it. So what we do is we will at the end of our caption, we will write something like link in bio. And if you ever have seen that, that means you need to look at this is their profile. This information up here is their profile. And you see this link, how I can hover over it and click on it. You can have one URL one website in your bio, your biography. So we had a post about the contrast corner where this one's 5 days, 5 ways. 5 days talking about 5 ways the American Rescue Plan helps North Carolinians. And we had all this information that we wanted people to be able to read. So we had to put that in our bio. Most of the time, it's just store.ncdp.org so people can buy merch. So that's the one little weird caveat with Instagram that's different than Facebook. Now, how often do you want to post to Instagram? Not as much as Facebook, definitely not as much as Twitter, but it's up to you. We probably only post once a week to Instagram, but I would like for us to post more. I'm not saying that that's even too much. You don't want to post more than once a day. I think the only time we did that recently was on Inauguration Day. It's basically the opposite of Twitter. Twitter, you could post 1,000 times a day. I don't think it would be too much. Like you can do, that would be a little much, but whatever. Like with Instagram, just not as much as Facebook. Try to do it once a week if you can. I wouldn't do it more than 7 times a week. Once a day would be sufficient. Twice a day if it was something, a very busy week. And then I also added 2 graphics over here for you guys to look at later on. You can just look at captions we signed, kind of how we end them with call to actions. But I also wanted to point out that both of these are very effective. They're both attention getting. One was just a good graphic, but the other one actually got more likes, which again, I say it's not about the likes, but sometimes just a photo is all you need. If you don't have time to do a graphic, a photo is fine to add to your timeline to share information with people. All right, I'm gonna keep going because I know we're getting short on time. Twitter. Everything's the same for profile photo other than the size. Make sure the circle is not cutting off the corners. A Twitter graphic is 1024 by 512 pixels. It's a rectangle. It's not a square. If you post a square, that's fine. But when the viewers are scrolling, you'll only see a rectangular portion of the photo until you click on it. That's the only difference. So for readability, it's not as easy. And then a Twitter header photo, which is the background cover photo, 1500 by 500. Copy for Twitter, and when I say copy, I just mean caption. That is a little bit different. You are more limited on your amount of characters. So you definitely have to be concise and informative here. A lot of times you'll be able to give more information on Facebook and Instagram than Twitter. Utilizing hashtags are good. I talked about that a little bit earlier. If you don't have a graphic, you can include a link if you would like to. And then one other thing I wanted to point out is these 3 graphics that I chose. The one on the top, we intentionally did not have a link or a graphic or a photo because the message was the most important thing. Sometimes when you have a message, that's all you need to share. You do not always have to have a graphic. If the content is really important and you don't want it to be over inundated, sometimes a sentence is fine. So we had one that said, release the body cam footage earlier this week, because no other graphic I could post would be as important for that. Today we tweeted about the 100 days and used a hashtag back on track. The bottom one shows an example. If you are tagging someone using the @ at the beginning of a caption on Twitter, you have to put, this is a new rule that I just found out about like a few months ago. You have to put a period before the @. Otherwise, Twitter thinks you are responding to this person and it will not show up on your timeline. They'll get a notification that you tweeted them, but it will not show up on your page. It will be hidden. They no longer show replies on your timeline. So if you have a really great response to NCGOP and you're like, your Twitter game sucks or something, like whatever you want to say, put a period before their @ or it will not show up on your timeline for your viewers to see. Only they will see it. So the fact that we put a period before it made it show up on our timeline. Just a weird thing. Feel free to experiment with it. It'll make sense when you do it. It's just kind of one of those weird things everyone needs to know. How often to post? As much as you want. It's rapid response. As much as you can post, as much as you can retweet. Again, it's kind of either like people are using this for news or they're using this for like cute animal videos. It's like, it's whatever you want Twitter to be. Yeah. All right. Does anyone have questions about those three so far? I know it's 8:02. I personally can stay on later, but I want to be cognizant of other people's time. Does anyone have questions on, specific social platforms as of right now? Okay. Cool. So Zoom and Mobilize. I'm gonna actually skip to this one, then we'll go backwards. We know that it used to be very annoying for people to have to sign up for something on Mobilize, also sign up on a Zoom account, all these different links, and then the time for the event comes and you cannot find your link. Zoom and Mobilize now have integrated. You can have the Zoom link on the Mobilize account and people only have to sign up in one spot. So we have instructions on here. Again, everyone's going to get this slide deck so you'll know how to do it. It walks you through how to do everything. I also have Kayla. Kayla Jacobs is the deputy digital director, and she is a Mobilize expert. She's queen. She's great. She can talk you guys through all of this as well. And then bonus, for all of you that are on Mobilize, if you click on this, we have a bunch of graphics on here already that you can use. They are I'll click through them. One is canvassing. One is if you're having a day of action. One is a Democratic watch party. There's, this was when people are at the polls, there's phone banking. And again, if you needed a Mobilize graphic, you could have a request and I can make one for you. So that's another thing that you guys can do.
Are these stock photos or do we need to send you some of the folks from our area?
Those you guys can just use. You can just use, was that your question?
Well, I wanted to know if like we've got new precinct chairs and we might want to highlight them in some of this, or do we have to use stock? Is there documents we have to get them to sign? And we can do this offline. I don't want to take up time.
Yeah. If you give me a photo to use, I assume that you've asked people's permission, and a lot of times the events that they're at.
Cozy, I'm going to say that's a legal question that we can talk about offline in terms of whether or not it's okay to take somebody's picture. But if people are okay and have given you permission, then NCDP is happy to use that and put it into a graphic for you. The ones that we just shared with you are examples that anybody is free to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy to talk offline with you. That's a really good question that gets a little more nuanced though. And it kind of depends on the situation, but a very good question. So if your organization is not set up on Mobilize, we need to get you set up. It's free. The party pays for it. There's no reason not to use it. A lot of people feel like it's a little clunky. At first, it probably is, but I'm happy to talk to you guys through it, show you how to make an event. We're not doing it on this Zoom because I could do a whole training on just Mobilize, which I think someone's actually doing soon. Julia, right? Yeah, everyone should sign up for that. What is Mobilize? Mobilize is also, I've seen a couple of you have DM'd me. If I have not answered your question, just stay on at the end and I can look into that. Julia, this is actually a good segue to you. Do you want to talk now?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What is Zoom and what is Mobilize, and what is happening with the future of all of us on COVID world, where we are all trying to get people to come to events. And right now, all of those events are generally online. And so everybody's probably familiar with Zoom. I am going to share my Zoom screen real quick somewhere here, maybe. So, or I'm not. This is Mobilize. Let me stop the share and go back to Zoom. Sorry, hang on. Woohoo! It's always fun and games for the screen sharing. All right, everybody's probably familiar. Like, this is what Zoom looks like when you go to create a Zoom meeting. Looks like this. I create the meeting. It says Manage Region 2 Democratic Women. And down here's a link. And if I were to click on that link or to email that link to people, people would sign up to come to my Zoom meeting, and it would be just like the thing you're in now. So you don't have to have Mobilize to set up a Zoom meeting. Zoom just says come. And you can change this link so that registration is required or not. And you can also change it so that like registration is happening, automatically when they sign in or when it has to be approved by a person. But that's what Zoom is. It just provides a way to say, we're going to get together online somewhere. Mobilize, though, so let me stop sharing that real quick. Mobilize, this is Mobilize. If you, whoops, sorry, did it stop sharing? Are you good? You're seeing it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So if I go to ncdp.org right now and click on events, you will see it takes you straight to our NCDP Mobilize page. And what Mobilize is a way for us to spread the word further, because I can take my Zoom link and I can just send it to my email list. I could even take that Zoom link and I could send it to the sheriff's department or whomever and say, please invite anybody, or put it in the newspaper. But if I really wanted to get it in the hands of people who are already progressives, syncing Zoom up with Mobilize helps me get it to a wider audience. So in the background, I've got my Zoom and my Mobilize linked up so that they're talking to each other, so that people are really just signing up in one place. They're not signing up on Zoom anymore. They're signing up on Mobilize.
And that you have to integrate the two together. It does not do it automatically. So I have that on this slide of how to integrate the two. It's very simple. Sorry.
And that's what she was talking to you about. Kayla will help you integrate them together. So the party pays for Mobilize. Your county party can have it for free. You just have to let us know you want it. And then I want you to check this out. So this is our Mobilize page. Take action with the Democrats. And you'll see that right now we've got some things, like I have this one tagged, Building Blue, my precinct is organized, and you can click on it to see the details. So I have personally, as a staff member, gone in and made sure that's at the top. But you also get to see other things, like here's a meet and greet with Sydney Batch. Here's a meeting in Garner. Here's something from Johnston County. Here's something from another Johnston County event. And you can just keep looking and you'll see events that are like near you. If you put in your zip code, it will like find other things that are close to you. So when you put your event, when you link the two together and you put your link on Mobilize, you're sharing it outside of your normal network, right? Because a Zoom link, you're just sending to your emails and to your people and saying, please sign up. And if you put it way on public pages, like Facebook, you might have crazy people sign up for it. But if you put it on Mobilize, it's a very much more progressive audience, and they only have to sign up in one place. They're not signing up in Zoom and signing up on Mobilize and signing up on Facebook events. You just put it, you create the link first in Zoom, you have them integrated, then you put it on Mobilize and people sign up here.
And what we recommend is still make Facebook events, because it's still another good way to get it out. And for people to sign up put the Mobilize link on Facebook. That's the registration link that they need. And the reason it's really good to use Mobilize is you can see the amount of people that have registered. Yes, you can see on Facebook when people are interested, but that number is like, that doesn't mean that everyone's really coming. On Mobilize, you can see their email, and then from there, you are allowed legally. You can take those emails and add that to your audience. So if you send weekly or monthly newsletters, you can add that to your list because they have willingly signed up, and that, it says all of that. It's not sketchy. This is allowed. This is part of building your Democratic network. So if you're a new organized precinct, this is a great way to get members, to get audience, to send the content package to. It's a good thing to do everything.
What I have up on the screen right now, like this is for our Vote Builder training that's coming up in a couple of days. And down at the very, very bottom, you can see that for this time slot, from the 2 to 3 time slot, I actually have 82 people that are registered for that. And then Mobilize also helps me. They remind everybody. Now, I actually think they remind everybody too much. That's a whole other thing. But they say like, hey, it's coming up. Have you confirmed? And then after you've confirmed, I say completed. And then I'm also going to tell you this just for free because you're here at the training, and then we'll stop. You can actually link the Mobilize into your My Campaign so that people who are signing up actually get pushed into your My Campaign. For those of you who are big Vote Builder data geeks, that's a really super cool feature. That's like super extra tech help. That's like level 404 stuff you're getting for free right here. Woohoo!
Everyone should sign up for the Vote Builder training coming up. Our data team is leading that, and Emily is amazing. So yeah, that's all that. I'm going to share my screen for one more second. Sorry, I know we're running over. It's a lot of good info, guys. Okay, so if you don't have a Mobilize, click on this link. Please request us to have a Mobilize set up for you. It's just so worth it, and we're really trying to have every county be a part of it. Julia covered the difference between Zoom and Mobilize. They are good to work together, but they are different. A Mobilize event graphic. So the graphics that we were showing that said like building blue and stuff, that is the same as a Facebook event cover, which goes hand in hand because they are both events. That makes it very easy. You can use the same graphic for both. And then Google Slides, I just included this. The slide deck that I'm using right now, I made it in Google Slides. The size of it is 1920 by 1080 pixels, just like Mobilize. However, when you save it as a PNG or a JPEG, whatever you want to do, the file size is going to be too large, most likely. So you might need to save it as a reduced file size. If you have questions about that, reach out to me. I can cover that another time, but they have to be under 2 megabytes. If you're working in Illustrator or Photoshop or something, if you export as screens, if you know what that means, that works too. That's what I do. I think that might be, this is the slide that I said I would include. It has the link to that website I was talking about that had all of the specs for Facebook, Instagram, everything that you could need. They really keep it up to date. It's really good. They have Lorenzo Pedro, our political director, has been promoting these traindemocrats.com. They come from the National Democratic Training Committee. It's free virtual training sessions that you can look into to see if any relate to you. Canva is a very good option for those of you who need more graphics and don't know where to make them. We'll cover it. If people want to stay on at the end, I'll open up Canva again, or Julia can, and we'll show you what to do. But for now, I'm going to skip that. Share NCDP and DNC graphics. This is the website to request all digital needs from us, to request the weekly content package, a Mobilize account, social graphics, and then all of our training events can be found on Mobilize. So yeah,
everybody unmute yourselves real quick and say thank you to Allie for another great training.
Thank you.
I know it's a lot.
And we know it's a lot, but we do want to, we're going to put a few links into the chat box right now before everybody goes. So here is the actual link. You can click on it right now. if you want to go sign up for the content package, or to get Allie to make you a graphic, or any of those things right now, there's the link. You can click on it and you can go now, go team. So Allie, we expect to hear your email go ding, 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 all of a sudden. And then, you know, if you need help with anything in the training or organizing category, your 13 organizing fellows and myself, we have open office hours every Friday from 2 to 4. And the Zoom link, I will also make sure that you get that, but the Zoom link for office hour training to help with any of this or anything is 2 to 4 every Friday. And I'm also putting that into the chat at the moment, just in case you need it. So you will receive this slide deck sometime tonight or tomorrow from Mobilize. It'll be an email from Mobilize. That's how we quickly send it to everybody that came. So don't ignore those emails from Mobilize that gets sent to your spam boxes. And we are, thank you so much. I'm happy to take any questions, but we just really appreciate it. Thank you.